Hi, I'm Renee Tucci, and this is another companion video to go with the Framing Floral Techniques book. In this video, I'm going to show you how to cut, soak, and work with floral foam. Okay, so what I have here is a traditional floral foam block. It is the most common size and style of foam that is used. And I am going to cut it and soak it and put it in this container to work with. Now there's two different ways you can handle this. You can soak the entire block and then cut it to size, or you can cut it to size first, then soak it and work with it. I'm going to do the latter for this video. So using my container as a guide, I'm just going to hover my foam over top of the container and gauge where I need to cut it, so that it fits just inside the container with enough tension to hold it in place. And then using a knife that cuts in one swift motion, if possible, cut straight through. There you go. And I'll just do a dry place. Yep, I can already tell this is gonna fit really snugly. Okay, so now I'm gonna take this foam and drop it in my water. Now I'm doing this in a clear glass vessel so that you can see what happens to it as it's soaking up the water. But of course you can use anything that holds water, Tupperware, a sink, a big tub, whatever you need. Now as you can see, as the foam is absorbing water, it's sinking into the water. Once it is completely sunk, it is saturated. And this particular foam is called instant, so that takes up water very quickly. A big no-no, what you never ever want to do is to forcibly push the foam into the water. You don't want to do that because that will create air bubbles within the foam that you can't see and you don't know are there. But if your flower stem ends up in that empty pocket, that air bubble, there will be nothing for it to drink and it will die very quickly, as you can imagine. Okay, so our block of foam is soaked, and I'm going to go ahead and add it into our cylinder here. And because it is snug, which is exactly what we wanted, tension to hold it in place so I don't have to add any extra mechanics, it does take a little bit of pressure to add it in. But when you do that, you want to make sure you spread the pressure. Try never to push one specific area and create an indent. That just compresses the cells of the foam and makes it very difficult for the stems to find the water in that area of the foam. So we try to handle it without messing with the configuration of it as best we can. Now you can actually go back in, and if you'd like, you could even shave the foam if you need to once it's in place. For instance, I'm going to go ahead and shave the corners of this. And now I'm ready to start adding flowers. So I have just a few flowers here to show you how to start. Now I'm going to start with these hot pink carnations, and there's another companion video that shows you how to open your carnations. I'll drop a link to that down below. But when you're ready, you want to cut your flowers, and you want to cut them to size as best you can the first time. And to decide how and where to cut them, I generally will pull my container to the edge of the table. Then I hold my flower and I raise it and lower it until it's about where I think I want it to be. And then I, with my eye or my finger, trace the stem back down to where it meets the foam, and then another 2 inches, because I'd like, if I can, for this stem to go at least an inch, if not 2 inches, into the foam, so it gets a good drink, so it has as much of a possibility for living and staying alive as long as possible. So we've got that in there. And now I'm going to proceed to add more flowers. Now because I've been doing this for a little while, I don't need to do that tracing bit every time, but if you're a beginner, that's the best way to gauge how long your stem should be. Now, if you cut your stem and you decide that, and you add it in, and you decide you don't like where you put it, that's okay. You can certainly change the place. Lift it out and put it back in. Never reuse the original hole. What happens if you do that is, say your original stem placement came to here. Then you took it out, cut it a little shorter, added it back in, except you can't really see inside the foam. So without knowing it, you've only put it back in this far. And so therefore now there's a gap between where the flower ends and where the floral foam is, and again, an air bubble where your flowers will have nothing to drink. So if you need it to be in that same general area, just go a scotch to the right or the left to make a new hole. Never reuse the original hole. And then just continue to add your flowers in. Now, of course, you'll need to continue to add water to the flower foam. So when this arrangement is finished, I'm going to go ahead and using a watering can or at the sink, I'm just going to fill the reservoir so that the flower foam stays moist and keeps giving our flowers its life. Okay, as you can see, I have finished my pretty and pink design here. Once these alstroemeria open, it's really going to sing. With the help of the floral foam fully soaked correctly and the addition of some water to our reservoir, this design is going to last at least for a week, if not longer. I hope you've learned a tip or technique and that you have a great day.